All right, I don't have my book, so this will be interesting. I don't think I'll need it, but we'll see. All right. So if you look here where you're now starting the second part, okay, the second section of the book. In this chapter, we're going to talk about Flexbox, and in Chapter 10, we're going to talk about grid layout. Now, I don't know if you consider this to be good news or bad news, but when we get done, I'm going to literally have you go to a site where you're going to play a game to learn how to use this. All right? Done this before, and people have seemed to have pretty good luck with it. So you may or may not agree with this, but when you do all that floating, it becomes a pain in the butt to know when to turn something on, when to turn something off. Do I float this to the left? Do I float this to the right, etc.? So a few years ago, they introduced this thing called flexible box layout. It's just called Flexbox. That's what everybody calls it. So that's what this chapter is on. The good news is it's not a particularly long chapter. So as you can see, we'll have an intro to Flexbox, talk about the different properties. This is the kind of thing, I'll tell you this right now, what you probably want to do for your next test, not now, not next week, it'll probably be the following week, but you'll probably want to go out to w3schools.com, all right, and look in there. And in fact, I'm going to just put in here W3 Schools Flexbox. All right, and there'll be another one for W3 Schools grid layout that we'll talk about tomorrow. But when you see this, it talks to you about the different elements, but it'll explain in here every property that you can use with it. You will be asked to do this on the next test. That's why, like I said, I would definitely recommend that when we take the next test, that you go out there. All right? I mean, I can't make you do it, of course, but I think it'd probably be in your best interest to do that. All right. Then there's a responsive web page that uses Flexbox. The idea with Flexbox is you just tell the system where you want stuff to be placed. You don't float it. You just tell it where you want it to go. All right, so it says, now the reason that we went over the floats first, and I think I've said this to you before, there are literally millions of websites out there that use floats. And I'm not exaggerating. There are millions of them. All right, but I was watching this video the other day from a guy that I take a lot of stuff from online, and he went over how to use Flexbox and how to use grid layout. Okay. And right before that, he had gone through a whole project that he created that just used floating. And when he got done, he said, you know, this project took me really long to do because I haven't used floats in about 5 or 6 years. He said, any new development that I do, I use Flexbox, I use grid layout rather, or I use a combination of them. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind as we get going. All right. So again, it's always referred to as Flexbox. I've never really even seen it as Flexbox layout like that. All right. So as we get into it, this is a really ugly picture, but I do want to go over it. I'm not saying you're going to totally understand it, but they talk about a grid system. All right. And the idea is when you lay stuff out, you tell it how you want it laid out. Do you want it laid out horizontally? Do you want it laid out vertically? Do you want to lay it out end to end? Do you want space in between each element? What do you want? That's what those properties do. All right. You'll notice that basically all browsers support it. I mean, IE 11 and up, Edge does, Firefox 22 and up, Chrome 29 and up. I think the last Chrome that I saw was over 60. So it's been around for a while. And again, you've seen me do this before. I don't want to waste your time, but if I go out to caniuse.com and I type in here Flexbox, you'll notice that, all right, older versions of stuff doesn't use it. All right. So there is more red in here than we normally see. All right. It says a Flexbox is a container that contains one or more items. Those items are called flex items. They're laid out along this axis. This is called the main axis. This is called the cross axis. And you put stuff out there basically almost any way you want. It's probably not going to make a lot of sense until we look at an example or two. So let's do that. It says Figure 9.2 shows you how to create a navigation menu using Flexbox. All right. So it's not anything magical that you got to do to use it. Notice what we have here. Display flex. You need that. That turns it on. Flex direction column. You see how it makes that? All right. In fact, what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I hate copying on this stuff. It never works very well. So, again, I'm not saying, does this make a lot of sense? It might make no sense. But let's just quickly take a look at this. All right, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to put it out on the desktop, and I'm going to call it flex1.html, not fex, flex1.html. All right. Now, it's not going to change. It does change colors somewhat, but just to make sure, let's quickly just do this. Not putting anything in the head right now. All right, so what do we have there? Not much, right? Would you agree? When we take a look at it and I run this, it doesn't look like much. This is what we did at the beginning, right? You know, that's what we did. So I'm going to come in there and I'm going to add this. I'm going to add all of this CSS that's in here, except what I'm going to do is when we first add it, I'm going to remove the Flexbox stuff so you can really see what's going on here. So I guess we do need a style tag in here. All right, I'm going to paste that in. Again, this will take a second to fix this. And I hope that when I get done with this, you think it's worth your time, me doing it. So we'll see. Here it was junk. All right. Now, for right now, I'm not going to have this Flexbox stuff in here. I'm going to get rid of that. So this is all I have. Let's run it again. Now, I think you'd agree, at least looks a little nicer, right? There's some formatting to it. All right. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to put the Flex stuff back in here. So I've got the go back and I'm going to comment out this, and I'm going to comment out this. All right, that's the flex stuff. So we'll run this. Looks even nicer. Looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to put it back in. You're probably not going to notice a lot of difference. All right, pretty much still looks the same. But notice what happens if I just change this from flex direction row, from flex direction column to flex direction row. Is that pretty obvious? It is. There, you have very little to do now. So again, because I've given this lecture before, and hand goes up, then why the hell didn't you show this to begin with? Because you got thousands, if not millions, of websites out there that do it the old way. And just because you get a job at a place, don't think, yeah, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to change it all so it looks the way, it does. They don't want that because it works. All right. But again, the idea, what I wanted you to see was how easy it was to create these. And again, the magic is those lines. And there's a few things you can do other than directions, so we're going to look at those as we go on in here. I'm just going to keep using the one that's in here. All right. Every HTML element has a default value for the display property. I do want you to understand the difference between a block element and an inline element. A block element takes up the whole line. An inline element doesn't. That is the difference. All right? So there will always be a blank space after a block element. There isn't one after an inline element. All right, so here's all the stuff that you can do. Justify content, flex start, flex end, center, space between, space evenly. Let's take a look at some of those. All right, let's grab this one for that display flex. So the same thing that we had before, same stuff, but this flex direction row, in fact, I think we can keep that in there. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Let's put in this. Justify content, space between. This line right here. All right. You saw what it looked like. Now, does that make sense? Now you've got the space between each one is even. Now again, do you have to do that? No. But again, with 2 or 3 lines of code, you see how easy it is to lay this stuff out. That's all. I'm just going to keep running through a bunch of their examples. That's how I learned it. So there it is with space between. See that? Even amount of space between. Space around, which looks the same, but it also has space at the end. All right, space evenly. So that space, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one are all the same. All right, and flex end. So there's a flex start and a flex end to push it towards the end or to push it towards the beginning. Does that make sense? And again, when you do this stuff, you can get some weird looking effects here. All right. One thing to realize is I can't put 800 items on the same line and just say use flex. What it'll do by default is it'll wrap, so it'll go on to the next line. All right. So what do we have here? It says the align items property determines how flex items are aligned along the cross axis. Main axis, cross axis. All right. Wrapping, I just mentioned this to you, but again, notice if I have a very short area, it'll try to put it in, all right, and then it'll typically take the next one, it'll start wrapping it around. Okay? But you want to make sure that if you're going to be possibly using wrapping, you want to use flex wrap. All right? So notice there's, as it says, there's one with a narrow width with wrapping and default alignment. So we've got here home and speakers. That means on the next line, if there's room, that's when get tickets will come, become a member, etc. Okay? All right. So how to allocate space. Flex grow, flex shrink, flex, and flex basis. Let's take a look at these in a little more depth. Flex basis, as it says, indicates the initial length that we're putting in here. Notice it says possible values. Include pixels, ems, and percents. The default is auto. Typically, again, you're not going to use pixels because it's absolute. You're going to use ems, percentages, or rems. All right. Flex grow says how it will grow in response to other items. What does that mean? Well, look. What we said here in this example, if you look, this section right here, okay, this one, we said we want that to be basically 2 times the size of the other ones. All right, so how do you do that? When you come in there and you give it a flex number, notice, flex grow 1, but the one in the middle, this one is flex grow 3. So I guess it's 3 times the size of the other one. I'm really hoping this will make more sense once, like I said, you go through this little game that's here. It's a little hokey. It's a Froggy type of game, but it's designed to move stuff around the screen so you see how to use this. All right? All right. So again, there's examples. I think what I'm going to try to do is to give you, I didn't do this before class, but I was thinking about it while I was just lecturing here, is to give you a very simple example. Throw it on the screen, all right? And then go through every one of these major properties. And basically, they'll let you turn things on and turn things off. And you'll be able to put each one of those in there and see exactly what it does. That'll probably make it much easier for you. This is kind of weird. You can change order. Okay? You know, who cares? Why should I care that I can change the order? Well, by default, when you put things in, they're going to go in this order, correct? But if I come in and I change the order, so what do we have first? The header, then the aside, then the section. All right? But notice we changed the order. How? We did this. You can order things differently without having to physically move them around, just by saying order and giving it a number. All right? It's pretty powerful stuff, really. All right, so they end this basically with a web page that uses this. Okay? What they're trying to get to here, notice the difference between this page, which is the way that it would look if it was on a bigger device, a desktop or a laptop, and this page, which is the way that it would look on a tablet or on a phone rather. All right? And they've used some Flexbox in order to do that. So as it says here, for desktop layout, Flexbox layout is used for the nav bar, the article, and the sidebar. For mobile, it's also used for the header. All right? For mobile layouts, media queries are used, so you start to put all this stuff together. All right? All right. Then they show you the HTML as it says. This is the same kind of HTML we've used before. Now, my suggestion, if you really want to learn this, just grab this. All right, yeah, you've got this stuff. All right, I did make that available to you, so you've got the book apps. Grab this application right here. All right, and after you do, grab the CSS that's here, and that's the CSS for the desktop layout. Just put that in, then come back and grab the CSS for the mobile layout. All right, and then check out the difference between the two. That makes sense? All right. What I'd like you to do right now, both of you, please, is to go out to flexboxfroggy.com. And as you can see here, it says, "Welcome to Flexbox Froggy, a game where you will help Froggy and friends by writing CSS code." So you will move the frog that's over here along by writing code. And the chances are, when you do this stuff, you'll get it right, but you probably won't remember exactly what you did. But look at what you're going to be using in here. Flex start, flex end, center, space between, space around. All right, as an example, they say that if you do this, you just copy that in, and you put in that justify. See what happened? All right. He's there. You tell him to move to the end. Boom, he moves to the end. All right. And that's pretty much the kind of thing that you'll do. There's 24 lessons in here. And again, not that you have to memorize anything. But you go to the next one, you'll do the same kind of thing. You'll notice that if I do this, well, now there's another one. But if I go, I don't know if it'll let me go backwards or not. All right, so let's see. All right, Flexbox. All right, so again, and it remembers where you are. See that? But they want you to just literally try to do some of this stuff. So if I come in here and I say justify content, all right, and I come in and, oops, okay, and then I come in and start to add some of the other stuff, use justify content again to help these frogs get to their lily pads. Remember that, so we want to move them over here. All right. Probably want flex end here. All right. But you'll see as you work your way through. Okay. So I'd like you to take some time to do this. All right. Now, today is Thursday. Okay. In a couple minutes, because I didn't print it out, but I'll print out your test review for this test. Okay, we won't take it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow I'd like you to take the Chapter 8 test. That was on responsive design. Okay, so we'll do that first thing. After we do that, we will go over Chapter 9. It's got another game, not Flexbox Froggy, but Grid Garden. You'll be doing the same thing. But instead of using Flexbox, you'll be using a grid to do it. So we'll do that tomorrow. Now, next week, all right, next week, I want us to go into chapters 11 and 12. So probably on Monday, when you come in, we'll do a written test on 9, Tuesday a written test on 10, and Monday and Tuesday we'll go over 11 and 12. You'll get plenty of lab time, though, next week. You're going to have at least one entire period for lab time. All right. So right now, you know, you should have at least everything turned in, through Chapter 6, ideally by the end of the week. So, well, that's a lot. Well, you've got the rest of the period today. You say, well, then you told us to do this. Then don't do that now. If you can get 7 and 8 done. All right. But at least like 3, 4, 5, and 6 by the end of this week. All right? I'd at least like 7, 8, 9, and 10 by the end of the next week. And then the following week, 11, 12, 13, 14. Guess what? That's all you got from this book. Then we're jumping into programming, and you're going to bring the other book. All right? Questions? All right. like I said, I will print out the test review sheets for this in just a couple minutes.